Conscientious, John Wooden. I don't know if you've ever heard of John Wooden. John Wooden is probably the greatest. Well, I should preface this by saying this is my opinion. I think John Wooden was probably the greatest coach maybe that ever lived. But John Wooden was definitely one of the greatest coaches. He's the only person in the Basketball Hall of Fame as a player and a coach. His UCLA basketball teams won 10 NCAA national championships, 7 in a row. Wooden was a believer in controlling the little things. If you took care of the little things, the details. Now, what does conscientious mean? Take care of the little things. If you took care of that, which you could control, you would be successful. I heard Coach Wooden speak once in New Mexico, and to my very unfortunate consequence, I had to follow him as a speaker. That is not a good thing. But Wooden got up and he said the first thing they did when the season began, the very first thing they did was he taught them how to put their socks on. I can just imagine every one of you sitting there, because we did this years later because I learned so much. You're sitting there and you're saying, are you telling me that the UCLA basketball players didn't know how to put their socks on? Well, there's a method of putting socks on. You take your socks and you roll them down to where they're in a row. And you pull them really tight over your toes, and you pull them out as you go up, and you go all the way up to the end of the sock. Now, they start in a very tight row, and they pull out all the way. You gotta be kidding me. No. Why? It prevents blisters. The reason you have blisters on your feet is your socks are loose. When your socks are loose, they cause blisters. If you have blisters on your feet, you cannot perform. Every one of you know that. If you get blisters on your feet in football, basketball, or even living, it's tough to walk. So he took the time to make sure they understood exactly how to put socks on. And then they didn't have blisters. Can you imagine going through a basketball season and not having a blister? Well, it improved their performance, obviously enough to win 7 national championships in a row. But that was just the beginning of it. That was how conscientious he was to detail, stepping with the proper foot, doing the things that make it important. You don't win because of the big things. It's the devil's in the detail. That's exactly right. You win because you do the little things. I saw a story about Jerry Rice last night, and he was talking about the day after the Super Bowl. The day after the Super Bowl, he was out running some routes that he had not run, he believed, as well the day before in the Super Bowl. I cannot imagine why that guy is the leading receiver that ever played football. Conscientious to detail. I want to be the best. The great players that I coached, they all wanted to be the best, and they were willing to do the little things to make them the best. Conscientious.